Good afternoon and welcome to the Entrepreneurship at Cornell celebration and our first event to kick us off, which is our eLab Demo Day. I'm Zach Shulman. I direct a program at Cornell called Entrepreneurship at Cornell, which is one of my favorite jobs ever, actually. Before we jump in, I want to say a quick thank you to our sponsors who are all listed on the celebration website, and also to our wonderful advisory council. Simply put, we cannot do what we do without you. It's the best way to state it. Your financial support is incredibly important to us. And I would also like to thank the entire team at Entrepreneurship at Cornell and also the Cornell Entrepreneur Network for making Celebration happen. So again, welcome. Okay, now on to Demo Day. eLab is a wonderful program that we started back in 2008, and I'm delighted to introduce my friend Ken Rother, who's the director of eLab, to get things rolling. Ken, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Zach. Thank you very much. So, as Zach said, eLab has been around for a while now. It started in 2008. Dan Cohn was the founding director, and a whole lot of companies have gone through it. A whole lot of teams have gone through it. A whole lot of those teams have actually turned into companies. They've gone on to raise a fair amount of money. Right before this, I started to make a list of the companies, just some of the ones from the last couple years that are going strong, and it includes companies like Shipfair, Datalog, which is actually sold to Nike, Farther Farms, Antithesis, GlassGrab from last year, doing phenomenal. Pedicure, early stage, helping assistive technology for seniors is still going strong. Marla Barrett, Hopscotch is doing great. Actually, she's pitching today, I think, at the Techstars, at the ERA demo day right now. Voteology was helping people express their opinion through their vote, and Redroot, and it just goes on and on. Bumble and Butter is still going strong. Snappy Screen. So it's incredible what this program has been able to achieve. Really, it's a testament to entrepreneurship at Cornell, the organization, to all of the schools, actually, that are very focused now on entrepreneurship individually in their own way, to student agencies and Student Agencies Foundation that sort of helps bring folks together and also runs a whole bunch of entrepreneurship programs in their, for themselves. So we've seen a lot go on in terms of just teams getting out of this program and moving forward. So, let me just move my slide. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about eLab and a little bit about what you're going to see today, and then we're going to turn it over to the teams. So this year, biggest cohort ever applied. We had, I think, 80 plus teams apply. We took in 21. You're going to hear from 18 of those today, and they're going to be pitching. What do we look for in eLab? We look for folks who are obsessed with a problem. They might have some idea what the solution is, but they're absolutely obsessed with a problem and they want to solve that problem. What eLab does is it helps them figure out who is that customer, what does that customer really want, and what's the benefit that customer is looking for, how's that customer going to buy, how's that customer going to even figure out that you exist. So we help people develop their business model, design their business model, go out and test their business model, and then if possible, go out and launch their business model. And you're going to see today teams in various stages. Some teams are out in market already with early stage trials. Some teams are just about to do that. Some teams are still figuring it out. And you'll hear from a couple teams actually that decided they're not going to go forward and what was the rationale for not doing that. So eLab, unlike any other course, it's not like a start line and a finish line. Everyone starts in the same place and finishes in the same place. In entrepreneurship, everyone's in a different place. And by the time we get to this point in the program, very, very spread out. Couple of thank yous, a whole bunch of people in the teaching team. And if you go to the eLab site, you'll see them. I want to point out a few. This year, we were joined by Steve Sauer. We were joined by Greg Ray, Nick Nikitas, who is an eLab alum, who actually raised $10 million for his company this year as part of the teaching team. So there's a whole bunch of us who are on the teaching team. Also this year, we just had tremendous support from alums, both eLab alums and alums of Cornell and other folks. So every team that's in eLab gets assigned an advisory board. That advisory board meets with the team several times during the year. The advisory board is made up of folks like venture capitalists, successful entrepreneurs, eLab alums who are still going, and of course, part of the instructor team. And we've added that last year. We tested it this year. We did it full blown. We're probably going to do even bigger next year. So that's part of what students get. There's classroom sessions. There's one-on-one mentoring. It's we just try and bring whatever we need to bring to move these ideas along. All right. Today, you're going to hear from 18 teams, each one about a 5-minute pitch. We're going to do it in blocks of 4 or 5. If you have a question for the team, please put it in the chat, and I will try and get to it between each grouping. I'm going to be able to ask teams some questions, and I'll try and pull some questions out of the chat. Also, when you're watching these pitches, you're going to hear asks. If you know somebody in this industry, someone connected to whatever, someone who's done this, you're going to hear these asks. So think about in your head, is there someone, are you that person? Can you help that entrepreneur? Or, what about in your circle? Are there people that you can connect these entrepreneurs to help them move their idea forward? So pay attention. We've had great connections come out of events like this. As a matter of fact, Datalog, which just sold recently to Nike, they actually met their first customer, which I believe became an investor at the December version of this event several years ago. So interesting things do happen at Demo Day. All right, enough about us. I want to turn it over to our first team, College Tax Comeback.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shelby, and I am the CEO of College Tax Comeback, the tax filing service for college students. Throughout high school, I had a job at my local mall, but I was unaware that I could be getting money back if I had just filed my taxes. Once I started working under a CPA, I learned I could get a refund and educational credits just for being a student. I saw that in my community, the majority of students were not educated on taxes and often did not have family CPAs or parents who were filing for them. Last year, I was talking to my friend Olive, and she told me that she had never filed her taxes despite working every single year since she was a teenager. She did not know how to file and did not feel like taking the time to do so. It was at this moment I realized that there needed to be a solution for students like Olive, and that is why I founded College Tax Comeback. Last semester, we interviewed about 70 students during customer discovery, and we found some troubling results. The first problem is that students aren't filing. In 2017, there was approximately $1.3 billion of unclaimed tax refunds that the IRS gets to keep simply because people did not file a tax return. We found that 24% of students were not filing their taxes because they did not think they needed to and did not realize that they could get a refund. The second problem is that students aren't claiming educational credits. Educational credits such as the American Opportunity Tax Credit and the Lifetime Learning Credit can save students up to $2,500 on their taxes and get them a refund of up to an extra $1,000. And the last problem is that there isn't a tax company for college students. They're either too expensive or do not give enough guidance. International students especially are in need of a new service, with the majority of the non-resident students we spoke to dissatisfied and confused by their current tax service. And so that's where CTC comes in. The first pillar of our business is filing. All the student has to do is go to our website and fill out our questionnaire and upload their tax documents. They're then matched with a tax pro who prepares their return. And then once the student verifies their information, CTC e-files this return and the student receives the refund within about 2 weeks. For our more complex returns, we work with a CPA advisory firm that helps us out a lot. The second pillar is training. All of our employees who are primarily college students go through extensive training and they become certified tax preparers before they even touch anyone's taxes. And then the last pillar is education. We hold workshops and make educational social media posts to help students manage their finances. And some of our workshop topics that we look to do during our off season range from anywhere to how to start building credit in college to how to start investing in a Roth IRA. And so the value we provide our customers, the first one is convenience, because our services are accessible and our process only takes a few short minutes. The second one is we give our customers maximum cash back for a minimum price by applying educational credit some students didn't even know existed without breaking the bank. And then the last value is we provide peace of mind and trust. A big part of students' disdain of taxes is a fear that they're doing it wrong, especially international students who often have to file with little tax knowledge of the US's complex tax code. And so who are the current players in the tax game right now? Well, the first is the free services such as TurboTax, where customers file by themselves without any guidance. And if you had stock earnings, gambling earnings, or on financial aid or trying to get these educational credits, there's hidden fees that the customer didn't know about. And what students need is expertise and guidance so that they can learn throughout this process and clear, transparent pricing. And the second player in the game is SprintTax, currently the only company that focuses on international students. And through our customer discovery, we found that it's extremely confusing and complex and takes most students upwards of 5 hours. And not only is it extremely expensive, but the student has to print it out themselves and ship it to the IRS on their own dime. What students need is something that's quick and easy and someone to take care of this process for them. And then the last player is CPAs. We obviously know that they're very expensive. Their flat fees can range from $200 to $300, whereas our prices start at just $20. And so where are we now? We currently launched our fully functioning website. We worked with the Cornell designer. We're currently taking on clients. We have clients from Cornell, the Cornell Law School, the Cornell Business School, Ursinus, and we just got reached out to a student that heard about us from Yale. To the right, you'll see one of our glowing reviews. And unfortunately, we've had to turn away quite a few international students this year. We have not found a tax software capable of handling complex international student returns, simply because they are not the focus for most of these tax software companies. And so that leads us into our expansion. We're currently trying to develop our own proprietary tax software, and we're currently implementing teams on other campuses. And so what we're asking for is we're looking for software development connections, and we're also looking for investors to help us raise $100,000 by the first quarter of next year through a convertible note. Below, you'll see our beautiful team, and we would not be where we are today without each and every one of them. And please follow us on Instagram, and if you haven't done your taxes, please reach out to us and we'll do it for you. Thank you so much for listening. And next we will have Elixir PX.
Thanks, Shelby. Good afternoon. My name is Adi, and I'm here today to talk about Elixir PX, improving patient experience by giving a voice to the unheard. Before getting started, I'd like to give a quick introduction to our team. My name is Adi, and I'm a senior majoring in computer science. My co-founder Abhinav graduated last year, majoring in computer science and math. We had previously worked on another startup in the hospitality industry. After COVID, we switched gears and started working on Elixir full-time. So what's the problem we're trying to solve? The patient experience, or PX, consists of any interaction between a patient and any service provided by the healthcare system. The Patient Experience Manager, or PEM, is responsible for this patient satisfaction and engagement during each of these interactions. Each hospital has between 2 and 4 PEMs who need to manage all of these tasks for each patient. As you can imagine, it's really difficult for PEMs to address patient experience across the entire hospital for every doctor, nurse, administrator, and each of the thousands of patients walking through their doors every week. The only way for PEMs to evaluate their success is by getting feedback from their patients. Feedback is complicated as surveys and reviews are carried out by multiple third-party companies. PEMs then have to follow up on feedback, change policy, or try out different projects to improve patient satisfaction. As you can see, this is truly a daunting task, made even more important as over 30% of reimbursements are tied to patient care and quality. These problems propagate down to doctors and nurses who lack insight into the PX process, which is a major part of hospital compliance and their evaluation. This lack of transparency leads to an increasingly high level of stress, which contributes to a burnout rate of around 55% among doctors and nurses, manifesting in worse patient experiences. So what does Elixir do? Elixir PX helps hospitals and patient experience managers better target their patient experience goals by providing a workflow management platform, allowing them to connect all stakeholders, tighten the feedback loop, and stay on track with compliance regulations. So why is the problem worth solving? Primary care practices are less likely to refer patients to bad hospitals, and patients are less likely to repeat visiting, increasing acquisition costs by around $125 per patient. This could also cost the hospital 30% of their Medicare reimbursement, which costs them around $6.5 million a year. And finally, the high burnout rate suffered by nurses alone cost hospitals around $1.18 million. The market opportunity here is vast. There are over 6,000 hospitals in the US with over 900,000 beds. In terms of our initial client characteristics, we're focusing on hospitals and healthcare centers that compete on patient experience, which are primarily located in suburban and urban areas, catering to private insurance or out-of-pocket customers. That's over 5,000 hospitals in the US alone. In addition, the healthcare enterprise software industry is currently worth over $75 billion and is poised for massive growth. Due to the impact of the pandemic, American hospitals have been forced to rapidly digitize many of their existing processes and are open to trying new solutions. Additionally, the healthcare industry is in a position to grow due to the increasing elderly population in the US. So with over 85% of these hospitals lacking the sufficient resources to meaningfully address patient feedback, Elixir PX is the solution. So what does it look like? Elixir PX is a system that integrates all things patient experience into one place, including feedback from all sources, compliance metrics, current projects, and the people managing them. The entire organization can utilize dashboards, reports, and project tracking to dig deep into the root causes of patient dissatisfaction. When you first log into Elixir, you get a quick snapshot of how you're doing with your tasks and survey scores. The project tab shows a list of projects that are currently being undertaken. They can be created by the PEM or suggested by Elixir itself based on patient surveys or online data. Within a project, you can discuss it with your team, assign it to a single person or group of people, attach media, and so much more. You can track your success and progress within each project with direct patient feedback in the form of Press Ganey integrations or public online review data. So what does this mean? For patient experience managers, Elixir provides them a specialized tool to manage, collaborate, and iterate through their different projects, allowing them to easily benchmark themselves and stay on track. The rapid and easy communication allows them to overcome organizational inertia, which benefits doctors and nurses, offering clearer views into patient insights, giving them more transparency during their evaluations. Overall, by using Elixir, hospitals can increase referrals and reimbursements while decreasing staff burnout. Thanks for listening, and we'd love to talk to anyone who works in a hospital or healthcare center to show our product and get feedback. Over to Raphael from Imperium Analytics.
Thank you for that. Awesome. So let's begin. Oh, no.
Sorry, over to Susan from Omnom Foods.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Susan Lin. I'm in the MBA program at Johnson, and together with my co-founder, who's a PhD candidate in anthropology, we are making a mixed vegetable-based powder you can add to what you're cooking or just sprinkle on what you're eating. So you can make delicious things like this chocolate cake right here with spinach, beets, carrots effortlessly that tastes great and is nutritious. Omnom Foods aims to help busy, health-conscious, adventurous home cooks enhance vegetable nutrition through a shelf-stable and ready-to-use solution. So what does it mean to be healthier? For many of us, it includes exercising more and eating more vegetables. This is Ellie. She's a stay-at-home mom of two. Anya, a busy single working professional, and Timmy, a college student living off campus with 3 roommates. Though Ellie, Anya, Timmy are very different and in different stages in life, they all want to eat healthier and consume more vegetable nutrition. Ellie is inspired by social media and her mom friends to make healthier meals. So she tries to make healthier foods, but she has seen little success in her trial and error. She wishes her kids' favorite meals just had more vegetables in them. Well, Ellie, Anya, and Timmy all want to eat better. They struggle with fresh vegetables. Fresh vegetables spoil after a few days. Preparation can be time-consuming, and they require special tools, and definitely a lot of fridge space. Here's a photo of Ellie trying to make some zucchini noodles for her kids. It was not well received. Here's a photo of Timmy's fridge and some spoiled vegetables that used to live inside. At Omnom Foods, we believe healthy can be shelf-stable and easy. We are creating a product you can simply add to many dishes to enhance your vegetable nutrition. And looking at the competitor landscape, most dried vegetable-based powders are imported with added ingredients that are hard to pronounce and not beneficial for your health. What makes us different is we're building a product that is versatile, nutritious, with no added sugar, salt, nothing artificial, and produced domestically. This is a photo of our local grocery store. We see almond being placed next to the flax and chia seeds in the baking aisle as a go-to-market introduction. They will be in 4-ounce bags, which is 24 teaspoons. We'll have 2 mixes, one for making sweet profile foods and one for savory. It can be added to foods like pasta soups, omelets, muffins, cookies, or simply sprinkled on what you eat. We tried it. Here's some pictures, and it tasted great. And sometimes it's barely even noticeable that it's in there. Our go-to-market strategy is to work with our local retailers at first to avoid the competitive shelf space battle and focus on selling the products online. By focusing on households that cook more than 3 times a week to be healthier and willing to pay for added benefits, that shops online gives us a target market of 1.5 million households. These are our key steps to get to our launch. We are currently busy with R&D and test marketing and building up a social media presence. Our fall Kickstarter campaign will mainly support our production costs. Here's a picture of Annie and myself and our 2 outstanding eLab advisors that has really supported us throughout this journey. We are looking for help in the digital sales and marketing space, someone who is passionate about content creation and that likes food. If you would like to learn more about us, participate in our fall Kickstarter, or have any questions, or even join our team, let's connect. Thank you. And now I would like to introduce you to Raphael of Imperium.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Raphael Bastidas, and I am CEO and co-founder of Imperium Analytics. I'm really excited to get started today. So if you've seen the news the past couple of months, you definitely recognize this individual on the left. This is CEO of Robinhood, Vlad Tenev. He was recently thrust into the spotlight due to the GameStop controversy. A lot of questions about retail investors and the retail investor space. And this is his worst nightmare. Retail trader Roaring Kitty was the sole trader that identified the weak position within the shorts and posted it on Wall Street Bets. What these 2 individuals really represent is 2 sides of the same coin, a real inflection point in our markets and a real coming out for the retail investor and the communities that they use to talk. The numbers don't lie. With over 15 million new generation investors and a 92% increase in retail trading volume year over year, their impact has been felt, and the online communities have been the place where that has been happening. Currently, millions of new people are using these online communities for discussion, yet users aren't getting the information and value they want. They're not able to ask questions, get answers, personally involve themselves in the discourse, and really not develop as investors. At Imperium, we hope to solve that. So at Imperium, we're building an app-based investing community with 2 main focuses. The first one being quality of conversation. We want to make sure our users are able to ask questions, get those answers, and really develop along the investing cycle. At the same time, we want to provide our users with daily sentiment, the ability to understand what other investors, what other traders in their position are thinking about an opportunity, about a trade, and ultimately make them feel more comfortable. We hope to democratize information for this new generation of investor and are looking to operate in a 2-sided market. We've talked about the users, but we're also looking to bring in content creators as they're essential to the ecosystem. So who is our customer? Let's talk a little bit more about them. On the traders, you've heard of them on the news. You might even be related to a couple of them, but they're college professionals, young professionals, not interested in traditional portfolio management. These aggressive traders have a lot of us versus institution mindsets, often relying on the opinions of other traders and online communities rather than traditional media sources such as Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, and good old Will Kramer. So where are they going now? They're going to TikTok, Discord, YouTube, but all of these are really imperfect solutions for them to get the value they're looking for. On the content creator side, they're already using these existing platforms to foster their own personal communities, often ingrained within the culture, becoming catalyst of conversation, ideas, and flag bearers for this investor. They're ultimately looking to monetize their passion for investing. So why do they care? On the user side, our community is going to allow them to achieve a sense of belonging and the ability to learn investing information from relevant people. They're not looking at 1%, 2% on their portfolio year over year. They're aggressive and they're different. We hope to cater to that. We also want to give them the ability to identify retail sentiment. Again, what other people are thinking about an opportunity, really important to these users after customer discovery. On the content creator side of it, we have ease of use, empowering tools, developing networks with other creators, and ultimately a reliable income stream that they can count on moving forward with their content. So our journey, we've already taken steps to provide this value proposition to our customer. Last semester, focusing on developing our business model, and this semester, putting the road to the rubber. In March, we launched our Discord with over 100 members and received really positive feedback. This showed us that our customer exists and they're willing to listen to what we have to say. In April, we launched our Harpoon podcast with 3 episodes released, giving a platform to this investor to talk about stocks, markets, and just general business stuff. Again, positive outreach with over a 50% click-through rate within our Discord server. And we're looking to ultimately launch a June 2021 iOS MVP app. So what are we looking for? Ultimately, we're looking for a network of people passionate about the future of investing, people that believe in this retail investor and want to see them grow ultimately. We're also looking to forge relationships with future funding partners. Currently, we're not ready for an investment, but we will be soon, and we'd like to have those channels available for future progress. And lastly, we're looking for constructive advice to further our mission. At the end of the day, we're students, but we're really passionate about this value proposition and this customer. Any advice that would make us improve and ultimately provide more value, we greatly appreciate. I'd like to take this time and say a special thank you to the Imperium team that have helped get us this far, as well as the eLab teaching team that has taught us so much. Again, my name is Rafael Bastidas. You can reach us at either of these emails. I'm excited to discuss more. And I'd like to pass it on to the GEL team next.
Thank you, Rafael. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jay Chand, and I'm a senior at Cornell. I'm really excited to introduce to you GEL, providing online student collaboration all in one place. This picture probably stresses you out, doesn't it? It's a screenshot of my partner and me working on a project after the pandemic forced us to work online. There's a quote from Scott Galloway, a marketing professor at NYU Stern, that stated, while other crises reshape the future, COVID-19 is just making the future happen faster. For education, this means that every university, including top institutions that have always prided themselves on in-person education, like Cornell, will now always be hybrid, and their students will have to be able to work in person and online. When collaborating online, students are losing time and losing entire years now of their education. A survey of 14,000 undergraduate students conducted by one class showed that 85% of students reported that the pandemic and learning online has negatively impacted both their performance and stress levels in school. This stress can push some students to completely withdraw themselves, to barely speak in meetings and do as little as possible, which means they also learn as little as possible. These students are suffering, and these students are lost. Lost students have always existed, but the numbers are increasing and affecting more and more universities, including Cornell, where there's now a lot of very smart and very motivated students who are lost. After talking to over 100 students, we've mapped a typical workflow for students collaborating with their peers, along with the different apps each step might use. It creates a painfully repetitive loop, complicated by the number of different apps required for each iteration, and that's just for one project. Working in person, students can get by, but this online workflow is so convoluted, it actually requires project management, which students have no experience with and which the big players in this industry, namely Canvas and Blackboard, do not provide. GEL creates a far more intuitive workflow that allows students the freedom to collaborate efficiently and manage their projects. Not only does it cut the number of steps for iterating on a project from 6 to 2, but keeping it all in one place also completely eliminates the overhead of switching between all these different apps, which has been a source of stress and frustration among students. Here's a screenshot of our fully clickable and comprehensive prototype demonstration to show you a few of the mentioned features. On the left is the Teammates tab, with the options to access teammate availability and schedule meetings. And below that is the Task Center, where students can easily keep track of tasks and assign tasks to the teammates. And on the right are the voice channels, which are different meeting spaces available so that multiple conversations can happen at the same time. And finally, students can just work on their projects, displayed here on this virtual table as if they're all sitting together in person. GEL provides a central application that closes the loop of online collaborative education. Creating a hub like this also gives us the opportunity to provide data-driven feedback to students and instructors, including meeting analytics and general work habits. Project management is something that can't be learned without doing, but even doing it doesn't teach anything unless there's feedback. So why would anyone commit to using GEL over their current habits? First, we'll take the students, our users. They'll receive a better hybrid education and improved results, which means less stress. The law student won't be overwhelmed by all the different apps and time it takes to do everything around the project. And on the other side, the student who typically takes charge and does all the work on assignments will now have an easy way of assigning tasks and keeping everyone involved. We'll also be helping the instructors by getting students more engaged in their teams and helping these law students. They can also use the metrics about student work to improve their assignments over time. And ultimately, these things just lead to better class reviews, making GEL beneficial for instructors too. And finally, the buyers of our product are the IT people in charge of evaluating educational softwares for a university. They've made it clear to us that their main purpose is to improve the experiences of students and instructors in the classroom. And we're clearly providing that. They'll also be prepared for any future scenarios where they need to transition to fully online learning for any reason. Next, I'll quickly introduce the team. Again, my name is Jay, and my partners Eric and Luke and I are all engineers. Our experience with online education is what motivated us to start working together. So our next major milestone is to pilot an MVP in the class for free and use the results to then make a sale to a department or an institution. And for that reason, we're looking for advisors who have connections or experience in the edtech industry. And if you can help us, please reach out to me with the email on screen and in the chat. Thank you.
All right. So I have a couple questions came in. I have a couple questions. I want to start, Shelby, with you at College Tax Comeback. You're in the consumer space. You're going to have to generate awareness. So someone out who was watching online had some questions. How are you going to generate awareness? How are people going to find you? You got a great idea, great service, but awareness is the game. How are they going to find you?
Yeah, so the first thing that we've been focusing on this semester a lot is marketing. We have a CMO, and we've been targeting students by universities on Snapchat and Instagram and different social media platforms. But we're also looking to get teams on every single college campus in the country. There should be a CTC team. And so there's a connection on the campus, and you can trust those students because you know them. And then the third way that we're looking to do that is through partnering with schools. And so a lot of schools, Cornell is one of them, will partner with different tax softwares because they want their students to be informed about taxes and finances. And so we're looking to go through that outlet as well.
Cool. So next, there was a question for Elixir, for Adi. Are you planning, is the idea to replace existing EMRs, or are you complementing EMRs? So how do you live in the world that's already out there with EMR systems?
Sure. So we definitely see ourselves as complementing EMRs because EMRs don't help the patient experience close to as much as the information that they actually require, such as the task they're completing, and the HCAP scores and all the feedback they're getting as well from their patients. None of that is actually collected or stored in an EMR necessarily, and that's why we sort of think this system would complement an EMR, potentially integrate with it in the future, and maybe become sort of like a CRM hybrid. But primarily, right now, it's completely a complementary role that it's going to play.
Awesome. All right. So I wanted to ask a question for Imperium. I got a Robinhood account. There's a ton of information out there. I got one. My kids got one. How are you going to stand out? So, there's this phenomenon. Well, there's a lot of stuff out there, so we want to do a better job. So I'm kind of curious from Imperium's perspective, how are you going to sort of engender that trust?
Thank you for that question, Ken, and thank you for whoever asked that. I would have to say the main priority we're looking at is to develop these investors. Ultimately, millions of people have plugged into the markets, have rushed into the markets, and they're really new and learning. We ultimately want to be a platform where they can not only get information, opinions, different trading tactics, but also ask questions and progress along their investing cycle and their investing experience. We want to empower these investors because later on, they're going to have families, they're going to have more wealth, and ultimately take trading more seriously. We hope to be there throughout that whole process.
Awesome. For Amon Foods, how do you, there's sort of, we're seeing a lot of alternative things now, alternative meat, so to speak. How do you sort of get people thinking about this product as a different way of cooking or baking? How do you get them comfortable?
Yeah, so we're really not trying to change how people cook. We're just giving them a solution where they can simply add something to what they're already making just to enhance their vegetable nutrition intake. Because dried vegetables are essentially just vegetables without, that have lost a lot of water. So if you're just, when you're making pancakes, if you're just adding a little bit of this almond mixed vegetable powder instead of, and a little bit less flour, then you're getting a little bit healthier product, right? You're not doing anything different. You're just adding something. And you can do that with everything that you're cooking. So you're really, I don't think we're really competing with a lot of the other like substitute meat products, because they're actually trying to replace meat, where we're just trying to enhance your vegetable nutrition just by adding a step in your cooking process.
All right, and one fast question for Jel. Do you see an opportunity outside of school? So, school is one place people collaborate in teams, but all of us are collaborating in teams. Do you see an opportunity that's bigger than school?
That's a great question. And we've definitely considered the fact that teams exist outside of education, but the thing that we really try to focus on for the problem we want to solve is in education, because our main competitors out there with team-related software would be things like Microsoft Teams or even Zoom, to say. And those things are not tailored to education, and that's the problem we want to solve, is that nothing really out there is tailored to the educational space and collaborating within those group projects and project management.
That's awesome, and we talk a lot about beachhead markets. Okay, I want to introduce the next block, and the next block is going to be led off by Agora.
Hi everyone, my name is Yuqing, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about our company Agora. 4 years ago, I was a student at an art university in China, and my friend Wentao complained to me about his freelance work on movie scenic design. At the very beginning, Wentao assumed he could receive payment immediately after his work, so he didn't discuss much about the paycheck with his clients. However, after he finished his work, the client was not very satisfied and didn't pay him until several months later. Wentao's complaints inspired me to learn more about designers' freelance experiences. I teamed up with Eddie, who is a lawyer, and Yang, who knows coding, and started to investigate the reason they had trouble receiving their commissions. It turns out that designers in China face several challenges. They may have all the design skills, but lack training and experience in providing professional design services. In other words, they don't know how to communicate with clients and what information to get from them. This situation may lead to misunderstandings on design requirements and then develop into disputes over design outcome, schedule, and payment that designers have few resources to deal with. Experienced designers usually learn to do business by making a lot of mistakes in their previous practices. However, it won't be a painful process anymore. We plan to provide an app toolkit to help designers navigate through their services. It includes a checklist to help them go through the careful requirement gathering process, a contracting tool to bind the rights and obligations of both parties, and quick access to legal instructions and dispute resolution methods. So for Wentao, he can use this tool to get information he needs efficiently at the very beginning, including his payment plan. Then he can draft a contract based on the checklist or simply by answering questions and share the contract with his clients. Finally, if the client intends to break the agreement, Wentao can find the most feasible dispute resolution method and go through the process with our instructions, or find an agent to act on his behalf. Since our market is in China, we plan to first develop a WeChat mini program to reach out to a wide range of existing WeChat users. To access our tool, individuals and enterprises can buy subscriptions, and for people using our agent services, we take a proportion of the resolved payment. There is a large customer base in need of our product. We target art and design college students in China as our initial customers because they are the most vulnerable group in the design ecosystem and might continue to use our product after they graduate. Besides, we plan to reach out to existing professional designers, artists, and enterprises in the future. At this stage, we received funding from the Central Academy of Fine Arts in China to develop our WeChat mini program, and we have a lecturer from China University of Political Science and Law as our legal consultant. In the meanwhile, we maintain a content-based WeChat blog with a large audience. We expected to publish and test our prototype next month in one university and with designers in our network. After that, we plan to refine our product and build partnerships with up to 70 universities. This is our team with background in design, law, and computer science, and we hope to push our ideas forward and bring changes to designers in China. We are looking forward to an opportunity to connect with people in the design and legal industry or people who have experience in doing business in China. Thank you. Now let's welcome the next team, Freedom Innovations.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Julia Isakov, and I'm excited to introduce you to Vita Innovations and our company's flagship product, Vital Mask, a smart mask that is committed to revolutionizing patient care in today's era. Imagine that you rush into the emergency room, desperately seeking care, only to be told that you'd have to wait 4 to 12 hours unmonitored, time in which your symptoms could unnoticeably worsen. This scenario, a result of emergency department overcrowding, happens far too often in the United States. In overcrowded settings, patients face increased health risks in the waiting room, during which no medical care is provided, a wait that could lead to severe consequences, including death in some cases. Combined with COVID-19, all of these factors create immense risk for hospital administrators that want to avoid lawsuits and any unnoticeable worsening of a patient's condition on hospital premises. After confirming a need for a solution through outreach with over 130 healthcare professionals, our team developed Vital Mask. Vital Mask is a smart respiratory mask that measures essential patient vitals, including heart rate, blood oxygen levels, respiratory rate, and body temperature. The mask comes with additional features, including an alarm fatigue prevention system that turns off our alarm system when the mask is detected to be off the face, as well as a silicone gasket seal for a tighter fit and comfort. Using our companion desktop application, nurses can view all patient data at a glance while easily tailoring it to their needs by changing alarm thresholds depending on the patient. Overall, our integrated Vital Mask technology can quickly alert nurses of any abnormal vital readings while providing patients a sense of much needed security and safety. The medical device industry is dominated by several large players, and it is difficult for a startup to be verified as an approved hospital vendor. Therefore, our business strategy is focused on proving the efficacy and need of our product before partnering with a large manufacturer that can help with distribution. We are currently finishing our MVP and moving on to launching clinical trials with our partner hospitals. Our product is beneficial not only to patients, but provides a robust ROI for hospitals as well. We aim to reduce the walkout rate by 1/5 from its current 8.2%. by helping inpatient clients feel that they're being taken care of even in the waiting room. This will result in an average of $110,000 in additional revenue per ED, with potential for higher values with a further reduction in this walkout rate. We're working in $1 billion serviceable addressable market, with revenues coming from our core reusable technology, as well as recurring revenues from the replaceable gaskets that are thrown away after single patient use. Our vision with Vital Mask is to really change the way that the triage process is completed in the emergency room, something that hasn't changed in over 50 years, and how the waiting room is underutilized as an important area for data collection and monitoring. We imagine a system where you no longer need to worry about you or your loved one's conditions worsening unnoticeably as they simply wait for care. A system where the financial, legal, and moral costs from the consequences of overcrowding for hospital administrators are significantly reduced. The problem of ED overcrowding will unfortunately continue to pose challenges globally for decades to come. But with Vital Mask, we offer a cost-effective solution to alleviate the symptoms of this universally tragic problem, one that we hope will save countless lives worldwide. Our next steps involve conducting clinical trials, collecting data, and reiterating our design based on the hospital feedback. We will then be conducting outreach to potential acquirers and partners. If you or anyone you know in the industry is interested in us or our technology, please reach out. We'd be more than happy to have a more in-depth discussion. Thank you very much, and we'll now be passing it on to Flora.
Hello, my name is Patrick Schultz, and I'm here to talk about our revolutionary beverage called Flora, a smarter alternative to kombucha for the health-conscious consumer. Our founding team is comprised of 2 food engineering researchers here at Cornell, myself and my business partner, Operatum Josh. Our food technical background allows us to innovate quickly within the rapidly changing beverage industry. So before coming to eLab, our team actually developed a novel technology to convert byproducts from tequila production into value-added prebiotic ingredients. When searching to find the perfect product market fit to implement our technology, we found a problem in the rapidly growing kombucha market. After talking with over 100 kombucha drinkers, we found a major pain point in the product is its high sugar content in all flavors. Some products have as much as 24 grams of sugar per 16 ounces. Not only is sugar unhealthy, but it causes inflammation, which negatively affects your gut health. To make matters worse, sugar is actually one of the key ingredients to making kombucha. With the end goal to improve gut health, kombucha is totally missing the mark. At this point, we realized we had to develop a completely new product. We saw a need, so we developed Flora. Flora is a prebiotic spritzer completely developed for your gut health. Unlike kombucha, this product contains scientifically backed prebiotic fiber, which actually feed the beneficial bacteria in your gut. This also allows us to skip the fermentation step, and it allows us to avoid sugar. We fortify our beverage with botanical oils and natural occurring minerals to further improve your gut health. What you see here is our first flavor, Juniper and Lime, which you should find available in stores early this summer. So a quick product comparison. On the left, we have a refreshing prebiotic spritzer flavored with fresh botanicals that contains 0 total sugar, 2 grams of fiber, and 10 calories. While on the right, we have the leading brand of kombucha that has 14 grams of sugar, 70 calories, and no fiber. So to better understand our customers, we talked to over 100 kombucha drinkers and narrowed down the specific pains and gains of these customers. These customers support and get most of their information regarding new products from the local community. You can find them shopping in Ithaca's Farmers Market, Green Star, or maybe purchasing local CSAs. They take a holistic approach regarding their health, meaning they supplement their diet with natural and functional foods. They tend to prefer organic, non-GMO, and clean labeled products. So diving into the market size of our company, we've determined our total addressable market to be 800 million. This encompasses the North American kombucha market. This market is also growing rapidly at a cumulative annual growth rate of 23%, and in 7 years projected to be approximately 10 times what it is today. Our serviceable obtainable market is around 60 million, and this encompasses consumers purchasing gut health beverages from co-ops in New York State. So our go-to-market strategy, how we're going to execute this idea with our business model. Currently, we import our raw materials and produce our product locally in a commercial kitchen in Varna with a cost of goods sold of 80 cents. We estimate our wholesale price per can to be $2.20 with a retail price of $3.49. We realize go-to-market strategy is very important in the beverage space, so we feel that selling this beverage at local co-ops on the shelf next to other bottles of kombucha is the perfect go-to-market strategy. We'll be rolling our beverage out in the next coming months at local co-ops and specialty stores. At this stage, we have a maximum production capacity of 1,000 units per week. Following, we'll start selling through e-commerce to increase our cash flow, then hopefully land a large regional account. At this later stage, we plan to partner with co-packers to further increase our production capacity. So we'd be very grateful if someone could connect us with large retail stores like Wegmans or Whole Foods. This would help kickstart our company immensely. Please feel free to contact me or my business partner, Operatum Josh. Our contacts are below. And thank you all for your time. And up next, we have Heal.
Hi, everyone. My name's Anna, and I am a Chinese international student studying at Cornell. Because of COVID travel restrictions, as of today, it has been 1 year and 3 months since I was last back home. During this past year, there has been a lot of times where I felt extremely low, especially because of homesickness and cross-cultural issues, including one day earlier this month when I was feeling so devastated that I finally had the courage to schedule an appointment with our campus mental health resources. When I got onto their website, though, what I realized was that the first available appointment wasn't until 2 weeks from the day that I did this search. Moreover, judging from the names of the clinicians, I knew that there would be no one who shares my cultural background who can understand all these cross-cultural issues that are causing my emotionality. There are around 400,000 Asian international students studying in the States, just like me. And according to our 80+ interviews, we know that 30% of them are actively aware of their own mental health and has this mental health need, just like me. Actually, our issues are not so huge that we would need a professional counselor to talk to. But at times when we're feeling extremely low, we need someone who we can access quickly and someone who shares our cultural background. That is why HEAL provides peer mental health counseling to Asian international students. Our service is extremely accessible. Our peer counselors share the cultural background of our students, and we perform the sessions in the students' native language. As of today, we have already conducted over 100 sessions and have over 600 subscribers, and 100% of our users indicate that they want to return to our service. Moreover, this is all simply done with our MVP test with the Cornell's Chinese international student community. Our service is extremely simple to use. We currently have 2 lines of service. The first one is that you can reserve a session with us and we will talk to you via a messaging app. Secondly, you can just drop into our Zoom session at any time during our hours of operation. This is one of the quotes from our customers. When COVID broke out, I had to miss my graduation and immediately go back to China. Looking back, I can't imagine how my last weeks in the States would have been without talking to HEAL's peer counselors. Our mission is to make mental health support extremely affordable and accessible. Our regular session is free while we charge users $20 per premium session, which gives users the freedom to choose a counselor that specializes in the issue that they are facing. According to our price test, 60% of our users are willing to pay for our service. And our team has both the expertise and the cultural background to tackle this specific issue. Not only all of the 4 co-founders are international students at Cornell, we also all study psychology-related majors. And today, we would like to ask you to help us connect with more people in need of our service. We're especially looking for connections with U.S. colleges, international student services, and mental health services. You can reach us via this email address listed below, but better yet, you can just scan this QR code and it will take you to our website. Not only will you find everything that you will need to know about us, but you will also find a link where you can download a specialized mental health report that our research team prepared for you. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks everybody. So a bunch of questions came up and I am curious about some of these answers. So I'll start with Agora. So just to clarify, are you planning to launch inside of WeChat or are you going to be a standalone app? Sort of how's this going to play out?
Yeah, thanks for the question from Helen. In terms of the question about how the WeChat mini program runs, currently it runs entirely within the WeChat app and use the user's existing profile to log into the WeChat mini program. And we can have a bank account linked to the mini program, so the revenue goes directly to our bank account. There is no brokerage fee, so Tencent won't take a portion of our revenue. And in the future, we are looking forward to develop other platforms such as apps and websites, so our customers can access our tool in different platforms, and we can have more control of our structure and data privacy. Thank you.
Thanks. So for Vita Innovations, what's the regulatory path for a device like this? How do you bring it to market? What has to happen?
So essentially, we would need a 510K for a Class 2 medical device.
What typically, how long does it take to get that? Sort of how big a hurdle is that?
Right. So it takes about a year. So that's a process that we want to undergo with a distributor, with a manufacturer that has a lot more experience and connection in the field. But and I saw another question about the centers that we're using. Since we're using centers that have a significant amount of data behind them already, there shouldn't be, any significant hurdles in that area.
All right. And there is no way there isn't someone on this call from the healthcare space. I'm willing
we're hoping for it.
I'm willing to take that bet. Flora, so how did you come to pick Juniper? Of all of the flavors you could have picked, why Juniper?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So actually the technology that we created uses tequila waste, and we have that as an ingredient, keeps our cost of goods really low, and it also imparts a really unique flavor. We found the combination of juniper, lime, and then the tequila byproduct, the fiber itself, really brings out a very herbaceous flavor. Similar to some of the artisanal kombuchas on the market, we wanted to have that unique taste, but it's very refreshing, very bright, very interesting. You should definitely give it a try.
Cool. And then for Heal, first of all, I wanted to say to everybody, sort of just imagine sort of the courage to give this presentation and be that vulnerable to explain to a lot of us who just live here. We don't really understand this. So I want to thank you for helping us understand. How are you, I want to go back to the question I asked early on to one of the other teams. How are people going to find out you exist? How are you going to get the word out?
Yes, so something about at least Chinese international student community is that we all follow an official Chinese international student organization at every U.S. college campus. So currently we are using this connection with the student organizations of Chinese international students across the U.S. to reach to their audience. And by this way, we can virtually reach every single U.S. college that has a Chinese international student population.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's great. All right. Thank you all. Really interesting. And I hope you're all enjoying this. For those of you who don't know where the chat is, in the top right corner, there's three little dots. If you're watching online, click on that. That opens up the chat. Love to see more questions. We get to see them, whether we get to answer them today or the teams will, be able to think about them, answer you later. Just gives them food for thought. Please ask some more questions. All right. So next up, we have Team Clutch.
Great. Thank you, Ken. Hi, everybody. My name's Mark, and I'd love to introduce you all to the future of auto repair. So what's the problem we're trying to solve? Your check engine light comes on, and it's a lot like a crying baby. You don't really know what it's trying to say. It's very anxiety producing. You don't know how to fix it, and we all just want it to stop. So what we're trying to do is we'd like to help inform the driver as to what's going on with their car, but then also to help them fix it. So how are we going to do this? Our solution is this. You have a check engine light come on in your car, you download our app, we'll send you a little Bluetooth dongle that plugs right into your car, into the OBD2 port. This is in every car built after 1996, it's standardized. The app will then be able to detect and diagnose all the issues of what's going on with the car. And then, some folks might choose to fix them themselves, but most are going to want us to send this over to technicians in the area, right? So we take that rich data and we send it to auto repair shops in the area. And now auto repair shops are able to see, this information and place a confident bid as to how much the fix is going to be, what the time frame is that you could bring it in, and how long it's going to take. But maybe even more importantly, you'll be able to see a star rating on the auto repair shop to see how they perform. So who's our customer segment, right? So we're a dual-sided platform. We're working with owners of out-of-factory warranty vehicles. These are typically 5 years or older. These folks, they want convenience. They want to reduce the time and spend on fixing their car. It's an absolute nuisance, right? And then on the other hand, they're looking for a trusted intermediary. Through customer discovery, and I think a lot of folks out there know, you could bring your car in for one thing and then have 4 other issues on your car after that. So, that'll just increase the bill. And then on the other side, we're looking to work with small to medium independent auto repair shops who obviously want to grow revenue, be able to do these mobile diagnoses, and then also be able to automate scheduling and improve the efficiency of their bays. These are small to medium shops. They might not have a lot of bays, and through the app, they're able to know which cars are coming in and how long the fix is going to take and all of that. So what's the business model? Well, let's talk some numbers here, right? So we're going to be connecting the vehicle owner to the auto shop. And we're going to take a 3% service fee from the auto shop. They're generating revenue. The average auto repair cost is $400. And so with that 3% service fee from a medium-sized shop, we're looking at about $36,000 of revenue per shop annually. Multiply that by 164,000 shops in the US, we're about $6 billion of annual revenue. This market is massive. So what are people saying? Well, on the customer side, folks are really, really excited about the idea that you can get a little more information of what's going on with your car, but then also get the price of how much it's going to fix, not just from one place, but from a number of places from the comfort of your own home. And, to be able to see how long it's going to take to schedule that, it's a big, big plus, especially if you move to a new area or you just got a used car or something like that, right? And then on the other side, the auto repair shops, they get calls all the time about, asking for quotes, and they give quotes over the phone, and they absolutely hate doing it. They say they get it right about 50% of the time, which speaks to the trust issue I mentioned before, right? So with Clutch, they're actually, because there's a lot of rich data, they're able to confidently bid at about 90 to 95%, because it's as if the car was in the shop themselves, right? The first thing the auto repair shop's going to do is they're going to take a clunky computer and they're going to plug right into that OBD port to figure it out. This is all done for them remotely. So who's our team? Well, we're all auto enthusiasts. I'm a lawyer. I have a regulatory compliance background. Sam Choi, he's worked at Ford. He's tinkering with a car right now. He's an electrical engineer. He's working on our app as well as the connection to the Bluetooth dongle. Yiren Du has got a lot of contacts and experience in manufacturing. And, if anybody out there knows anybody in the automotive repair industry, or if you're interested in this idea and you want to chat, please reach out, clutchfix@gmail.com. We'd love to talk. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce it to Bolt.
Hey guys, my name is Dan Wedman, and today I am pumped to talk about my startup Bolt, which leverages modern technology to improve skating performance. Now, the idea for this startup occurred to me when I was playing hockey at Cornell. I was always one of the fastest runners on the team in the gym, but always one of the slower skaters on the team. So I knew there was something biomechanically inefficient with the way I skated. And it led to this huge passion of mine of trying to figure out what separated elite skaters from poor skaters, how to measure it, how to quantify it, and ultimately how to improve it. After doing a ton of research, none of the solutions I found were sufficient. To give you guys an example, the way right now most hockey players develop their skating is something called power skating, where players line up on one end of the ice and skate down and back with some instructors floating around trying to address the deficiencies in their stride. Now, what's wrong with this strategy, or what's inefficient about this strategy, is that each instructor can be subjective. They're using their human eye, so it can be inaccurate. Players unanimously do not like it. Being a hockey player myself and all my friends, they consider it repetitive and boring and don't look forward to doing it. And it's not personalized. So that was my experience with it, and I wanted to make sure that other people were having a similar experience. So I interviewed 100 hockey players and found out that almost all of them were unhappy with the current solutions available to develop power skating and skating performance. In particular, the age group of 10 to 18 years old, these players found skating to be the most important part for getting to the next level of hockey and ultimately the NHL. So when I was a senior, I was playing hockey and a freshman joined the team who was studying computer science and electrical engineering. And I thought he'd be the perfect fit to help join my team and help bring this vision to life. And we got to work on it, and it turned out I was right. We found a solution that frankly blew our expectations out of the water. So what we do is we put 17 IMU sensors all over a hockey player's body, and we have them skate through preset patterns. And these sensors send data wirelessly to a computer where you can see all the joint angles and segment positions in the human body. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to compare the metrics from poor skaters and elite skaters. And then a virtual expert can then provide tailored feedback and exercises and drills to allow them to target their deficiency and improve upon it. And we actually recently just brought in a skating expert on our team, which we are really excited about. She's worked with NHL teams, and she's really excited about what we're developing. So that was awesome news for us. And for the first time ever, players can quantify their skating ability and track their improvement over time. So Kyle and I, Kyle being my co-founder I brought in, we wanted to know if other people thought our solution was as good as we did. So we decided who better to ask than people with the highest standards possible, and that's NHL teams and players. So we spoke with 6 or 7 NHL teams and showed them our idea, gave them a video demo, and they were unanimously enthusiastic about it. They all thought it was really interesting and thought that this could change the way players learn to develop skating. Furthermore, because our target customers are ultimately 10 to 18-year-olds, we were testing this at rinks with some players, and naturally, people at the rink, parents and kids there, started to gather around and ask me questions, what we were doing, how can they try it? Like there was a lot of buzz about it, which was great feedback for Kyle and I to receive. So some of you may be wondering, okay, how big is the hockey market? For those of you unfamiliar, there's approximately 1 million minor hockey players in North America that spend on average of $10,000 per year on yearly training. So to throw a hypothetical number out there, if we were to capture only 10% of this initial target market and capture 10% of their training budget, that's a potential revenue of $100 million. And keeping in mind, this is just our initial target market. We have big aspirations of what this could become in the future, which involves expanding overseas into Europe and Asia and expanding into other sports and other human motions. But for the time being, we are laser focused on skating development in North America because me and Kyle find that that's our unique competitive advantage and something that we think we can strongly execute on. And we plan on launching small scale this summer in Ithaca or Toronto, which we're really excited about. And we currently have about 26 players using the platform, providing feedback, which is great. That number is going to go way up this summer. And this is our team here, and the lady on the right is the new skating instructor we just brought in last month. And our current need at the time being is a mentor with experience in Google Cloud Platform web application architecture. Other than that, we really want to hear from people who are excited and following our monthly progress. We'd love if you would join our mailing list. You can scan the QR code here. And in general, would love to connect with anyone who is interested in what we're trying to build. Thank you, and I'm now going to pass it on to Vinstinct.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chelsea Stevens, and I'm one of the co-founders of Vinstinct, where we help new Black wine lovers build knowledge, confidence, and connection through wine education and experiences. So Vinstinct developed as a venture between me and my friends, who I met here at Cornell. And we all came here with very different interests in STEM, law, and public affairs. However, after meeting each other on various occasions, we learned that we each had a passion for wine. And this really sparked a friendship between the 4 of us. We would often get together in the evenings at local bars and restaurants in the Commons and just do our schoolwork over a glass of wine. And we really enjoyed just talking and exploring new and different wines, especially in the Finger Lakes region. However, when we tried to share these same experiences with our friends back at home and our respective families, it was not the same. There was a clear disconnect and gap of knowledge in wine, and this was primarily because wine culture is intimidating and they felt othered in the space. And it turns out that they're not the only ones. In fact, Black Americans spend billions of dollars annually on alcohol. However, less than 7% of those sales are allocated towards wine purchases. So this huge gap in the market exposes the clear disconnect between Black wine consumers and the wine industry. So we wanted to figure out why this problem exists. And we interviewed and collected data from over 130 Black wine consumers, influencers, and professionals, and learned that there is a lot of pressure around learning wine and communicating about it. People don't want to say the wrong things or ask the wrong questions about wine. And this particularly plagues the Black community because there's a social and cultural disconnect between the wine industry and Black wine lovers. And this disregard for the Black community and the wine industry makes it challenging for them to learn, experience, and communicate about wines. And further, it makes it challenging for them to find other like-minded individuals in the space. So the values that our targeted customer are looking to build include knowledge about wines, confidence in wine communication, and connection with more Black wine lovers. So what we're doing is we're integrating Black culture into both wine education and experiences through 4 main avenues: games and sports, language, music, and food. And part of our solution is to provide a wine educational and experiential platform where users of this app can explore various wine regions around the world virtually. They can communicate with other regional visitors at each location and participate in interactive games, whether it's by themselves or with others, to build their wine knowledge and ultimately collect vines to improve their Vinstinct or confidence meter to unlock or tap into more wine regions around the world and communicate with more users of the app. So we tested this concept of providing wine education through a game format and through our Wine March Madness challenge, which was hosted on Instagram. For this challenge, we compared the specific skill sets of athletes to the distinct characteristics of different wine varietals. And we challenged our Instagram followers to fill out their own Wine March Madness bracket and vote every day for their favorite wine varietal or their favorite basketball player in a head-to-head matchup where the winner or champion was ultimately decided by the followers. And through this experiment, we were able to increase our following by 50%, improve our interactions by over 100%, and increase our website visitation by nearly 75%. Additionally, we heard back from some of the Wine March Madness participants and learned that we learned 2 valuable things. One, that we can provide wine education through a game format, and wine taught through games is fun, engaging, and effective. So in the upcoming months, we are going to continue to test the integration of Black culture into wines through music, language, and food. Currently, we're testing wine and music on Instagram, where we have curated certain playlists of specific artists and paired wines with that. We're also going to be trying to change the language of wine by using more modern day terminology and using wines to pair with ethnic and cultural cuisines. So please join us in making the wine industry a little bit more colorful and inclusive to others. You can follow us on Instagram, where you can participate in our upcoming MVP tests. You can visit our website, where you can provide direct feedback on some of the content we'll post in the future. And if you or you know someone who has mastered the art of social media, we could sure use your help in tapping into a larger audience on Instagram. Thank you. And the next group will be Cloud Montessori.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah Matos, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cloud Montessori. Last year, my co-founder and I were discussing the challenges of raising children and homeschooling during the COVID-19 pandemic, balancing the needs of work, resolving conflicts, and connecting with children in an authentic way was being eroded by anxiety and stress. Parents were worried, and not just because of the immediacy of homeschooling during the pandemic. After speaking with 150 parents in 3 countries, we realized that parents of young children were struggling with the fundamental building blocks of their days: maintaining patience, engaging their children in an authentic way, and understanding if their children's behavior was developmentally on track. The pandemic brought to light a need for unmet parent support. We talked to one parent, Allison, who didn't know if her 6-year-old should know his letters by now. Was he behind? She thought he was behind. Should she be doing something? What should she do? How does phonics work in Montessori style learning anyhow? Or like Jessica, who wanted to support her second daughter with potty training, but didn't know if she was doing it right. Her first daughter took to it right away, but her second daughter was wetting the bed almost nightly. She was finding it really hard to keep her patience. And Matt, who felt bad about the time his daughter was on his phone, but wasn't sure how to replace that time. He was embarrassed to admit that he didn't know how to play many games with his 2-year-old. Allison, Jessica, and Matt are not alone. In fact, 71% of the parents we talked to were concerned about screen time, but weren't sure how to replace it with meaningful activities. 80% of parents were overwhelmingly concerned about their children's emotional well-being and weren't sure where to begin. There is no shortage of information on how to parent. But parenting has shifted dramatically over the last few decades, with greater expectations placed upon parents to support and empower their children than ever before. Millennial parents are feeling the pressure. They don't feel qualified or confident, and yet there simply is no parent playbook for parents interested in raising children the Montessori way, focused on capable and independent children. And yes, they could read books, but they don't. They're on their phones, largely on social platforms. We kept hearing the same story. Good parents want to become better parents, and many are feeling lost and lacking confidence in their own abilities. Parents don't have time to become child development specialists. They want to know what to do, when to do it, and exactly what they need to be successful. Millennials are digital natives looking for a technology-first solution. Accurate, succinct, and data-driven information can be found on our website, Instagram page, and newsletter. Our three-step model of content, community, and products enables us to efficiently deliver the benefits of skill building to a niche community who are inspired to parent based upon Montessori principles. Similarly to what Mint provides in finance or the Skim or Morning Brew for news, Cloud Montessori brings curated information to parents' fingertips in an aesthetically pleasing way that appeals to the Instagram generation. We are still very early stage, but we have some promising traction. We use data to understand the behaviors and desires of our target market, quickly translating this information to iterate and improve upon our products and services. We use Amazon and other affiliate links not only to generate revenue, but also as a window into consumer behavior to guide our future product development. Cloud Montessori operates at the convergence of the growing markets of personal coaching, edtech, educational products for children, influencer marketing, and social networks. We're focused on the serviceable, obtainable market of Montessori-focused millennial parents at $2.1 billion. Cloud Montessori is a parenting solution based upon the freemium model. We generate revenue from sponsored content and products, trainings, paid subscriptions, and our children's products and toys. Our predicted annual revenue is $4.7 million based upon a 2.5 e-commerce conversion rate and a 2.75 upsell conversion to paid subscriptions. We acquire customers in a variety of free social platforms, then take our customers on a journey to paid subscriptions and high quality and thoughtfully selected products, gifts, apparel, and toys. My co-founder and I have deep expertise in education, entrepreneurship, web-based products, and as experience of parents of small children. So, what are we looking for? We are looking for advisors in ed tech or lifestyle media brands, incubators or accelerators focused on family tech, software developers, and lastly, connections to Montessori communities. Thank you very much for your time, and many thanks to the entire eLab team, our advisory board, and supporters. My name is Aaliyah Matos, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Cloud Montessori. Please follow us on Instagram and check out our website. We look forward to creating a bright future for today's children with your support. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Adele from AI Learners.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So my name is Adele Solansky, and I'm a sophomore studying electrical and computer engineering at Cornell. So I'm the founder of AI Learners, and at AI Learners, our goal is to make learning fun for kids with disabilities and to help their educators. Here you can see a picture of my sister, Laura. She has a severe neurological disorder that severely affects her ability to walk, talk, and learn mathematics. Growing up, I watched her struggle to play educational games on current websites. She wants to learn math online. However, now you can see a picture of her playing a game on our website, and she's smiling at the game as she's smiling at the fun icons and all the other images on the screen. She plays the games with her therapists every single day, and they really enhance her education. So Laura isn't the only student that can't learn from current websites well. Students that have cognitive disabilities, they struggle from poor design of current websites. They have extra action, features, colors, and high speeds that are designed to engage healthy students. Then students that also have behavioral disabilities, they already struggle from a lack of engagement, and they usually don't like mathematics. So these websites with poor design make these students lose interest even more quickly and become more frustrated. And then if you add physical disabilities on top of that, some of these students can't navigate these websites. Some students with physical disabilities also use assistive technology, such as an eye gaze machine that my sister uses, and some of these websites are simply not compatible with these assistive technologies. And to learn all of this, we talked to almost 100 parents, teachers, and therapists, and we analyzed the websites that they use now. And although they have many issues with these current websites, they still pay around $10 to $15 per month for these websites, as they want an online educational platform to help their students. So I've built a team of 20 students in the last year, and all of these students are all really passionate about education, and we all want to help kids with disabilities. And this summer, we're working full time to reach our goals of helping Laura and other kids like her. We want to put this platform in front of 1,000 students in the fall and to grow exponentially from there. So what exactly are we trying to solve? So the way that we're trying to solve this issue is mainly through personalization. So our backend algorithms ensure that each student will have their personalized website, where all the games on the website are made specifically for the student at their own math level. And then we recommend what games the student should play based on the past games that they've played and how they're performing in the various math topics. And then we want to make sure that each game is truly customized for each student's needs, because kids with disabilities are very, very different. So at the start of a game, a student gets to choose the icons within the game by choosing their favorite fruit, for example. And then the game has very clear instructions, buttons are very large, and everything is very clear so that students are not stressed during a game and they can stay engaged. And then to further drive and maintain engagement, we have a lot of positive reinforcement throughout the game. For example, you can see a fun icon on the screen, and we also offer different breaks and audio throughout the game. And then the parent or the therapist that's playing with the student, they can change some of the features of the design features of the game to really drive that extra engagement and help their students more. They can change the images, number of answer choices, breaks, and much more through our in-game settings menu. And we don't just help students. We're also helping the parents and educators help their kids, because a kid isn't always going to be playing games on the website. They're also going to be, a parent also wants to help their student additionally. So we do this through providing our analytics section for adults. So we have an overview of math practiced by the student. We show what games the student has played over time. We very clearly show how a student has progressed in the various math topics and skills over time as well. And we identify strengths and weaknesses to make it super clear to a parent how a student has been performing. And all of these graphics are very interactable, so an adult can really understand their students' abilities. So how can you help us attain this goal of putting this platform in front of 1,000 students by the fall? So we're on track to raising $30,000, and we're already halfway there. We also want to be connected to more potential users, as we want to increase our customer base. And if you work in ed tech or game design or the disability space, we would really love your help. So if you fall under any of these categories, I would really encourage you to reach out to my email listed on the screen. Thank you very much for your time. And I will now pass it off.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I got a bunch of questions for you. Let's start with Clutch. Let's do it in the order. So this is all about trust. How do you sort of build the trust, maintain the trust? How do people know they can trust the mechanics that you've picked? What happens if someone doesn't work out? Sort of how does that all play out?
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for asking that question, Ken. So basically, in simplest terms, it's kind of the same way that Uber does their star rating. After the transaction, you'll have 5 stars for quality. Was the time frame right? Customer experience. And then we'll send a follow-up a week or a month out after, just, has the fix really worked and all that kind of stuff. But the really cool thing is we have the dongle still in the car. So we're actually able to see if that check engine light comes on again and for what specific issue, and to see, if the shop really did the job right.
All right. Yeah, interesting. Dan. So first of all, Dan, if we took up a collection from the Line of Faithful, would you not sell this to the rest of the ECAC, so only we have it here at Cornell?
Done deal. You have my word.
Awesome. But I want to ask, in this kind of market, like when you're bringing something like this to market, do you start by trying to get some NHLers and hope it trickles down? Do you start down at the 12-year-olds who are the tournament in Quebec City? Like how do you penetrate a market like this? Top down, bottom up? How does it work?
That's a great question, Ken. And how we viewed it is we've already worked with some NHL players and teams. And our main reason for doing that is to gather their data. They're the most elite skaters in the world, and to gain credibility. So when we're, then showing it to someone in our target range of 10 to 18, we can say, hey, we've worked with, 15 NHL teams and players, and that gives us a stamp of credibility. We ultimately think our main market will be that 10 to 18-year-old people who are developing competitive hockey players. Oftentimes their parents are spending a lot of money to try to make their kid as good as possible. So yeah, to sum it up, I would say we are collecting NHL data to begin with as a means of having elite data and as a means of developing credibility, but this is all an attempt to really address our target market of 10 to 18-year-olds.
All right. Chelsea, quite simply, how do you make money?
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you. That's a really great question. So currently, the way that we're plan on making money could vary. Right now, we've only tested one of our concepts for our MVP. So with the current mobile app system, we would have a freemium-based model where users of the app could access more advanced features such as a chat feature or audio feature, where they can communicate with other people by paying a small service fee for that. As well, like we have to still test some of the other some of our other MVP tests. So the solution can completely change. So if people are more interested in pairing wines with their music, we could create wine boxes that have small sample sizes of different wines that pair with specific artists. So there are many different ways that we've been thinking that we could potentially make money. We just have to make sure we secure the actual and final solution to address the problem.
Yeah, thanks. I want to point out to everybody, I said early at the beginning, teams are in different places. Chelsea talked about doing MVP tests, sort of testing what's going to work. You don't have to know the answer at this point in time. Part of a program like that is to teach people how to do those tests. So, that's great. Cloud Montessori, Clea. How do you fit in this? I don't know if I want to call it competitive environment. There's established Montessori world. People who send their kids to Montessori, love it. Sort of, are you competition? Are you complementary? Are they going to be mad that you exist? Like how do you coexist with traditional Montessori?
Yeah, great question. So in short, no, we're not trying to replace traditional schooling. Our solution is really to support parents navigate challenges outside of the classroom. So right now we're focused on the toddler and preschool age group, ages around 2 to around age 6, and things like potty training or sleep challenges, language skills that might resonate with anyone who's ever negotiated with a toddler, and looking to help families outside of the classroom setting. And it could be parents who choose to homeschool. It might also help support them. But realistically, we're extension of learning into the home for all parents, and not just Montessori school families. We can provide skill building and support for all parents who are interested in raising independent children, regardless of what school they go to.
All right, and Adele from AI Learners. So first of all, I want to say to everybody, generally at eLab, we take juniors through PhD candidates. So undergrad, juniors, and seniors, lots of MNs and MBAs, other master's programs, and we've had several PhD candidates in the program, and we continue to do that. When Adele showed up, we do interviews late August, early September to interview the teams. Adele showed up, the instructors are there. She said she's a sophomore, and which already, we're already thinking, well, this isn't going to work. Sort of like 1 minute into the pitch, we all just looked at each other and said, well, this is an easy yes. And you can tell Adele's attracted a team of 20 people, a problem she cares a lot about. But what I want to ask you, Adele, is how do you know if it's working? Are there standard rubrics? Are you going to have to develop rubrics? Like, how do you know that you're actually accomplishing your goal?
Yeah, thank you for that. So that really is the hardest part. That's how we're going to solve that through user testing. So initially, we just talk to a lot of customers. We talk to parents. We talk to teachers and therapists. And we tell them about our product and they say, wow, this is amazing. Like, we want this. So that's our first indicator that it's actually something we want. A small indicator has been watching my sister play the games and seeing her actually smile, and she's using them with her therapists now. But then once we start user testing, then we have a clear script of what we want a parent or a teacher to say when they're playing the games that would tell us that it would be working. And then we also are going to carefully examine students. So over the summer, we plan on going to schools and camps and watching kids play these games And we want to really carefully watch their facial expressions or talk to adults that work with them daily to understand if these kids are actually enjoying these games and if they're going to be benefiting from them over time.
Cool. All right, we have 4 more teams to hear from, and I think Hover is going to lead off this block.
Thank you, Ken. I'm Michael from Hover. Hover's target market is a group of people called streamers who play video games and broadcast their gameplay live online. I, along with others on the Hover team, are streamers ourselves, or often watch the streamers and consume gaming content. We recognized how hard it was to become a successful streamer. Using our first-hand experience in the space, we set out to help streamers get discovered by posting gaming clips. So let me explain what motivates these streamers. There's 1.1 billion people around the world who play video games. Millions of these people broadcast themselves playing online, and more people are watching these streams on average compared to ESPN, MSNBC, and CNN combined. Top streamers like Ninja or Shroud are living the dreams of millions of other gamers. They're entertaining thousands of fans, playing video games all day, and they're making millions of dollars while they're at it. But 95% of streamers only have 0 to 5 concurrent viewers per stream. The streaming services do absolutely nothing to promote them, which leaves them at the bottom of a very long list of streams, resulting in a vicious cycle in which they have lots of trouble gaining traction. These small streamers are doing everything they can to grow. They're broadcasting every day, and they're posting on other social medias in an attempt to get any exposure they can. But we've heard from them over and over again. Nothing they've done is helping them grow. Today, we're helping thousands of these small streamers and passionate gamers build a community to discover new people and grow a fan base. So how does it work? We provide these streamers with a place to build a digital resume of content in a format that's conducive to discovery. Through posting short clips rather than long streams, these creators can highlight their personality and skill and grow a fan base on a platform that easily converts to a stream viewership. Hover allows users to build their brand on our platform and gain organic growth rather than struggling to use platforms that are designed primarily for other purposes. Our content curation algorithm is built to show viewers content they will enjoy and make the process of following a creator on streaming platforms frictionless. Unlike any other social media, the more you consume and interact with the community, the more likely your content is to be seen. We know from talking to the streamers that they spend multiple hours per week trying to get more exposure, and we realized that we can make that process not only more effective, but turn the most tedious part of being a streamer into a game and a form of entertainment. Many streamers that are part of the Hover community have reached out to us to let us know that they've seen their number of followers double or triple even just after a few weeks on Hover. In addition, we have an extremely tight feedback loop with our users that has helped us quickly adapt to their suggestions or problems by releasing updates weekly, which has made them feel involved and invested in the development of our platform. Over the past several months, we have seen steady growth in our user base, recently passing 5,000 users. At this point, we're focused on acquiring new users, increasing our retention, and thinking about possible revenue streams. There are 2 main possible revenue streams that we're considering. Firstly, users paying to boost their discoverability, similar to promoting posts on other social medias. Multiple users have already offered to pay us for exposure. Additionally, we recognize that we have a niche market of gamers on our platform, which are very advertiser-friendly, and there are a number of brands such as Razer, Corsair, and G Fuel, to name a few, who spend copious amounts of money in advertising in the gaming space and would surely love to have a repository of customers that meet their exact target market. So, we're raising a seed round in Q4 of this year to help us reach 1 million users. Today, our primary goal is to grow the number of users and create virality behind the platform. If anyone in the audience knows anything or anyone who knows about growth hacking, we would love to connect with you so we could learn more. If anyone has any questions or would like to learn more about Hover, we ask that you reach out to us after the demo. Lastly, I'd like to thank everyone on the Hover team, our advisors, and the eLab instructors. And with that, I'll pass it to Sam from QBuddy.
Hi, thank you. So my name is Sam Brickman, and I'm a co-founder of QBuddy. And I'm not going to give a traditional pitch today, but instead I'm going to tell the story of my co-founder Jordan and I's entrepreneurial journey throughout our time here at Cornell. This story starts our freshman year when good friends of ours founded a breakfast delivery startup for college students. Jordan and I were brought in as initial employees to build out the website and to lead the tech team. That spring, we did the pilot launch for Suna by literally hand delivering out breakfast throughout college town by ourselves, as you can see here. We stayed in Ithaca our freshman summer to further progress the business. We gained great entrepreneurial experience as we worked with the founders to build out our product, partnered with Cornell Dining, and expanded the team from 3 to 22 employees. As Suna grew, Jordan and I found ourselves in roles where we were talking with customers, planning new feature launches, developing strategies to help increase delivery orders, and even sometimes waking up at 5 a.m. to cook breakfast ourselves if the chef didn't wake up. We came to realize how much we enjoyed these aspects of the job and that we wanted to start our own business. We began to explore problems that we faced in our daily lives and eventually decided to start Zing. It was mind-boggling to us how many students, especially in STEM classes, would struggle by themselves for hours on end doing crazy complicated computer science projects simply to avoid having to talk to the person next to them or reach out and ask for help. The way Zing worked was to connect students together who were struggling to find study partners based on their similarities and interests. We won the Big Idea competition and spent the summer building out Zing with the help of life-changing labs. That fall, we were able to expand Zing to 14 universities throughout the country. We were doing all of this while taking 22 credits as full-time CS students, and it began to be a lot to handle. And it is at this point that perhaps the most useful lesson we learned at eLab, to be scrappy and resourceful, came into use. This is our junior year fall schedule. Each of the classes circles here were courses that we specifically looked for because they would allow us to pursue both our education and our startup at the same time. For example, we took a CS class where we could work on our matching algorithm, and we took a design class where we could work on the user interface for the website. Having the work that we had to do for Zing and for a degree intertwined allowed us to spend practically all of our time growing the business. Then when the pandemic came, we saw that all of a sudden it wasn't only students who were lonely and isolated, but rather people all throughout the world unable to leave their homes. We realized that we could connect people together of all ages the same way that we were connecting students. So we had the idea for QBuddy, a way to help people stay connected while social distancing. We initially started with no money or resources whatsoever, so we had to be creative. We literally borrowed all of our friends' computers and laptops, and you can see on the left, and used not so traditional marketing strategies such as posting memes in Facebook group on the right to acquire initial users, and pulled 2 all-nighters to launch the website, and QBuddy was born. The way it works is users sign up by completing profile information like their interests, their age, and the type of people they're trying to get connected to as a buddy. Our optimal matching algorithm then introduces the best possible pairings together and connects them so they can get to know each other through messaging back and forth on our platform or by attending one of our virtual get-togethers. It took off faster than we ever could have imagined. We were featured on Time Magazine, CBS This Morning, and Live with Kelly and Ryan, and within the first 3 months, organically accumulated over 20,000 users in over 100 countries throughout the world, all without spending a single dollar on marketing. We ultimately decided not to move forward with a startup right now. However, from our experience being a part of the eLab community at Cornell for 4 years, we've learned some incredibly valuable lessons along the way. The first of those is to be scrappy. When we started Zing and QBuddy, we were literally using Wix websites and spending hours matching people together by hand, which allowed us to grow the businesses before our product was even ready. Additionally, as full-time students and entrepreneurs, we learned how to prioritize tasks and spend our time most efficiently on the tasks that will help us grow the businesses as fastly as possible. Finally, we saw how valuable a supportive entrepreneurship community around us could be. We'd like to give a huge thanks to the eLab team and the entrepreneurship community at Cornell as a whole. Although we ultimately decided not to go forward with a startup right now, we know our entrepreneurial journey isn't over, and this will not be the last time you see us starting a business. We'd love for you to reach out to us at either of the emails here so we can stay in contact for when we start our next venture, whatever it is that may be. Thank you so much again for listening, and you can contact Jordan and I at the emails here, and I'll also put the emails in the chat. Next up is Matt Black Lounges. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am Gabe Trumbo. I'm a second-year MBA student and the CEO of Matt Black Lounges, where we are bringing premium airport lounges to mid-sized domestic airports. I grew up in Northwest Arkansas, home of Walmart, but also home of a mid-sized airport, and I thought that these were the only 2 options you had when waiting for your flight. But then as I started traveling more for business, experiencing larger airports, I discovered the airport lounge and how much of a difference that can make and how it really turns an airport from something that I dreaded into a place that I really enjoyed hanging out before my flight. I loved lounges, but I couldn't figure out why they didn't exist in more mid-sized airports. Tried to do research and ended up with the main reason was just that no one had actually opened one in a mid-sized airport. So I decided that maybe I should do that. I came to Cornell with that plan, won the hospitality business plan competition last year, got $25,000 from that, and with one of my MBA classmates, opened a lounge at the Syracuse International Airport this year. We ran for 10 days, had an incredible reception. The passengers loved us, the airport loved us, and we also had mid-sized airports from around the country reaching out, wondering how they could get our mid-sized focused lounge into their airport. So over our 10-day run, we had 129 guests come through, normalized to pre-COVID numbers. That would have been over 400. We did no advertising, and as you can see, we're scaling significantly at the end, so we think these numbers would actually be even greater once we had time to open, do proper advertising, and the word got out. For a small airport like Syracuse, which is on the smaller end of what we would target, would look at about $500,000 a year in revenue with almost a 50% net margin on that. It's one of the reasons we're really attracted to mid-sized airports. People aren't spending the normal 3-hour layover time there. They're only coming for about 45 minutes before their first flight, grabbing one drink, one granola bar, and so you're getting incredible margins off of that side. Additionally, the airports aren't looking at it as a money generator. They just want to be able to offer the service to their passengers and to other airlines looking at coming into their airport. So because of this, you have a lot of leverage with the airport as well and can get good terms on leases. Similarly, mid-sized airports are chronically underserved. 39 of the 100 largest airports in the U.S. don't have a single lounge. And then also with COVID-19, people are just more concerned about having a private, quieter place to wait for a flight and don't want to be crammed into a crowded waiting area, as well as moving to more of these mid-sized cities. So we think long-term COVID is actually going to have a really positive impact on lounge expansion into these mid-sized cities. So our growth plan moving forward, we've got kind of a bottom-up approach where we want to enter into these mid-sized airports where we can have a lot of leverage, get in quick, get a first-mover advantage, but then eventually do also want to open in the larger, more international airports. We've identified 20 airports across the U.S. that we aim to be in within the next 4 years, generating about $20 million in revenue per year. So like I said, Syracuse is on the smallest side with about $500,000. Most airports like in Oklahoma City, at Tulsa, Oklahoma, Memphis, Tennessee would be doing about $1 million a year in revenue. And then the very largest, a Houston Hobby, a Dallas Love, a Chicago Midway would be doing between $2 and $3 million a year in revenue. We believe it'd be a great acquisition target for a credit card company, a hospitality company, or something that we could continue to grow and run as an independent lounge network. When you look at kind of the place that lounges exist in today, you've either got the exclusive hyper premium lounges where you have to pay $600 a year to be a member and have to be flying on that airline to get in, or you have the more budget outdated ones that feel like it may be a 1990s Holiday Inn when you walk inside. So we think there's a great opportunity to be kind of this premium and accessible lounge, and from our test in Syracuse, people seem to agree, and there's a lot of momentum and excitement there. So like I said, my name is Gabe. I'm a second-year MBA. Previously to Cornell, I spent 6 years bootstrapping a tech startup. My business partner, David, is also a second year at MBA. And then we also have our chief design officer, Allie, who has spent years working for WeWork and Kimpton Hotels and really understands how to make these kind of multi-use transitional spaces like an airport lounge. So basically, we are looking to raise $1 million. That'll help us open our first set of lounges. It only costs about $150,000 to do the build out and get all the fixtures and furnishing for a lounge. So we're hoping to get 2 of those open by the end of this year, an additional 2 by the end of 2022, and be on that path to 20 in the next 4 years. If you know anyone who'd be interested in investing in the hospitality space, we would love to talk to them. And there's our contact information. And with that, I will pass it off to policy.
Thank you, Gabe. Hi, everyone. My name is Adi Kulkarni. I'm a junior studying policy analysis and management in the College of Human Ecology. Along with Henry Manley, I founded Policy to help academic research organizations transform their technical findings into communications-ready content. While doing research together our freshman year, we realized how disconnected stakeholders are from the impacts of academic research, especially things like jargon and length getting in the way. We wanted to understand this problem, so we spoke to over 500 frustrated deans, researchers, and communication specialists across the country who told us that first, funding, support, and rankings depend on proven research impact. Second, communications is the fastest growing job class at universities. And third, the digital jump, which has been exacerbated by COVID-19, reveals a technical skills gap to turn complex research findings into communicable, distributable contents. So in sum, the problem is only growing in size, while resources to alleviate pressures from funding agencies, university donors, and administrators are only becoming thinner and thinner. For the past 3 years, the diverse multidisciplinary policy team has developed a novel technology that translates research publications into short summaries for communication teams to create impact statements. On the left is a long, dense research paper. On the right, you have one of policy summaries, which boils down the paper in terms of both length and complexity. No longer do these teams spend hours scouring pages of jargon, but instead get impactful takeaways in moments in the form of templated press releases, website posts, tweets, and much more. Policy generates website posts, tweets, and press releases that then make it easier for teams to add quotes, context, and color to content before sharing it with federal policymakers, funders, and even farmers. Deans of Communications license our software to expedite the generation of impact statements by 50% for their audiences, yielding to money saved, time back, and better results. Additionally, with policy, clients get twice as much research to bring success stories to Senate chambers or deliver new tools around the farm. Not to mention, universities have the research seen by donors, prospective students, and funders far more often, compounding the research ROI for the institution. We sell to Deans of Communication by charging initialization fee and an annual per summary licensing fee, allowing us to meet universities of all shapes and sizes with affordable plans to service their unique needs. The research communication market at large is no joke. The National Science Foundation reports that over $150 billion are spent on communication efforts alone each year. Policy is attacking an immediate market of $7 billion, which consists of public land-grant institutions and agricultural programs, which have an acute responsibility to improve the lives of residents in their state. Simultaneously, we're exploring applications across all types of academic research and the long-term in the financial services and legal research spaces as well. This summer, as Blackstone Techstar Summer Fellows and in the Life-Changing Labs Summer Incubator, we beta tested with centers at Cornell, Duke, and the United States Department of Health and Human Services. This fall through eLab, Policy signed 3 letters of intent with deans at R1 universities and just signed 3 12-month deals to our very first customers, totaling 5 figures of revenue so far in 2021. Now we are in negotiations with 6 more land-grant universities, and we're planning to bring them to close early this summer. We're making progress reaching out to colleges and universities around the country. And if you can help us move the needle at one of these or any of the other universities that you may know, we'd really love to chat. Between the two of us, Henry and I have 8 years of research experience, and our data scientists are working as NLP and software engineers at Facebook, Amazon, and LinkedIn. Our team is advised by the chair of Harvard's economics department, a Microsoft product management executive, and Cornell engineering, entrepreneurship, and communication professors, among others. Together at Policy, we're revolutionizing the cadence and reach of academic research, informing the world's decisions with empirical work that has long been caught up in layers of bureaucracy or barred by complex language. And so we're looking for the following: connections to research centers and research faculty. Additionally, if you yourself are a research professor who wants to get the word out or know anyone that might, please send us a note. Second, if you have experience crafting software as a service platforms for universities, please let us know. And third and finally, if you're a mentor with experience in natural language processing and machine learning, we'd love to chat. Finally, you can find a demo of what we do at policy.org. We'd love to chat more about these 3 items or generally about our journey. So please reach out to Henry or myself at founders@policy.org. A special thanks to the eLab teaching team and our fellow entrepreneurs and you all for listening all the way to the end. Pass it over to Ken.
All right. Thank you all. I have a few questions. I'm going to start with Hover. So a question came in online. I thought it was a really good question. Why mobile? It sounds like more of that gaming is a desktop experience. How are you deciding where to start?
Sure. So it doesn't matter where you game. You can game on a PC, you could game on a console, you could game on your phone. We have integrations with all of the consoles, the PC, and you can post that all through the app, it's all synced up to your account. So the app is just the means of where you host the content and consume the content. And we chose to make that a mobile experience because most consumers are on their phone, and people are pulling out their phone, watching TikTok, they're going on Instagram. It's very similar to that flow and how that works.
Okay, cool. So for QBuddy, I am kind of curious. So what is next? Are you do you want to go work for some other entrepreneurs for a while and kind of see how other folks do it, or do you just want to do it again?
Yeah, so right now, Jordan and I's plan is to find a job in the near term, like something along the lines of like a product management job, just to learn as much as we can and get more experience. But we're already talking about new ideas and have plans to start a new business very, very soon. But right now, we're going to get a job in the meantime. Cool.
Gabe, I'm curious about branding. Is the idea that they'll all be Matt Black, or are these small regional airports, are they going to want to be the brand? Is it co-branded? Sort of, what are you thinking there?
Yeah, I think we see them all being branded the same. I think that's kind of one weakness we see in the current lounge market. There's not really a ubiquitous aspirational brand that people can kind of relate to and enjoy. And so definitely the plan for the pop-up at Syracuse, we did not do that because we didn't want to confuse anyone since it was just a short-term lounge. But for the full build-outs, they'll all be branded under the Matt Black umbrella.
Cool. And for policy, which I get to hang around a lot of scientists, so a lot of folks doing grants, so I know how important this is to them to be able to communicate their work. Do you have competitors? Like, what are the options available to a researcher who's trying to communicate their work?
Yeah, so while there are certainly companies that are working in the natural language processing space, it's a really exciting space, there aren't that many that are servicing this exact need within academic research communications. So we've been really building a niche here, and we want to be a tool to the current people who are servicing it, which are the communication team. So as we found from our conversations, communications is the fastest growing job class at universities, and especially in times where funding is tight, it's often something that's sacrificed. So we want to be able to make those individuals who are still needed to conduct the interviews, who are still needed to get out there and find quotes and create the content itself. We want to be a tool that'll help them as an input to their process, so they're not spending time reading research papers and trying to understand quantum physics or biochemistry, and focus on the real communication.
Awesome. All right. So thank you all. Want to talk a little bit, when these teams come to apply to eLab, as I said, we're kind of focused on people obsessed with a problem. We're often not the customer. I don't think anyone on the teaching team is streaming anything on Twitch. What we're looking for is people who really sort of identified a problem and they've just identified that gap and they're really passionate about closing it. And that's sort of what makes an interesting team. If you're interested in entrepreneurship at Cornell, if you're a student especially, we have a big information event coming up on May the 6th at 4:30. I'm going to be there. We're going to talk about eLab. Nate Cook is going to be talking about the Kessler program. Greg Ray will be standing in for Andrea Appolito on BET and Women Entrepreneurs in STEM at Cornell. So we're going to have a session, sort of a common session, then break out into rooms. It's not on a slide, but I'm also very interested in hardware entrepreneurship, and we have an event this evening at 6 o'clock. If you're interested in that, you can check out the Rev website. If you're looking to get more information, you can go to elabstartup.com. You can email us. Applications are open. Please apply early so we can talk to you and discuss what your application looks like and things you could do during the summer to enhance your application. So it's not a one and done. You apply now, we'll work with you, and then you get to apply again in late August after you've done some work. So please reach out if you're interested in this program. We would love to hear from you. As Zach said at the beginning, this is the kickoff to a two-day event, Entrepreneurship Celebration. This is a great event. When I first got here to Cornell, I wasn't even connected to Cornell. This was sort of my first experience with entrepreneurship here. It's a fantastic event. The next event up is the Van Daniel Venture Challenge. These are teams pitching. The stakes are a little higher now. They're pitching for money, usually very deep tech. If the deep tech came from Cornell, from the licensing office, they get extra money. So if you want to see teams pitch much higher stakes, please go watch the Ben Daniel Venture Challenge. I will be watching it because I love watching those teams pitch. And some of them were former eLabbers, so it's really exciting for us. We're going to give everybody a few minutes. Thank you. I got a zillion thank yous to CEN for helping us, Cornell Entrepreneurship Network, for eCornell for producing this thing. It was fantastic. Entrepreneurship at Cornell and Student Agency Foundation for being there for us. I want to thank the team at CREA, the Center for Regional Economic Advancement, who do marketing for us and program admin and events. But I specifically want to thank Monica and Adam, who have been herding cats for a couple of weeks to pull this together. Really appreciate it. I want to thank you all for spending time with us, and I especially want to thank the students for giving us the opportunity to work with them. I will see you all at 3 o'clock at the Ben Daniel Venture Challenge. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Hey, this is Zach again, and congrats to all the eLab student teams and also to the eLab teaching team. This is a very hard course, and it's a hard course to teach, and the whole team does a wonderful job. So excellent for another wonderful year of eLab. Okay, as Ken just mentioned, it's time to transition now to the Ben Daniel Venture Challenge. The URL should be on your screen. It's live.alumni.cornell.edu. That's the standard viewing platform for the rest of celebration, including all of tomorrow. Okay, so jump off this, jump on that, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks a lot.
Take care, everybody.